Today, for member statements, we will hear for the honorable members for the districts of Exploits, Torngat Mountains, Stephenville-Port, Placentia West-Bellevue, and Terra Nova. The honorable member for Exploits.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today in this honorable House to recognize and remember a somber tragedy that unfolded in my district of Exploits on October 3rd, 1942. In addition to the anguish of serving up the loss of our sons to World War II overseas, the town of Botwood awakened that morning to the heartbreaking reality of being host to the crash on takeoff of the flying boat Excalibur on the Bay of Exploits, and the ensuing deaths of 11 military personnel, of which 4 souls remain on the missing list. During my tenure as mayor, the Joint POW MIA Accounting Command, JPAC, has been dispatched twice to Botwood on assignment to recover and repatriate the remains or personal effects of those not found. A second crash, that of the Canzo 9384, also continues to be the custodian of several souls as well. Its final resting place remains unknown to this day. It most certainly would be the prayer of us all to see the dawning of a day when all lost are brought from the depths to the surface and to the embrace of both the sky over the Bay of Exploits and their families. With Remembrance Day on the horizon, I would ask all honourable members to join with me in a moment of silence for these crash victims and indeed for all of our fallen and living veterans and current military personnel. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. I thank the members. The honourable member for Torngat Mountains.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Last week, I had the opportunity to attend an event at Government House hosted by our Honored Lieutenant Governor. The sod turning for the Heart Garden, the building of a memorial to recognize and remember residential school survivors, victims, and their families is a significant milestone in recognition of the mistreatment done at residential schools in the country as well as in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. The event was attended by Her Honor, the Lieutenant Governor, her husband, as well as descendants of residential school survivors. It is important to note, Mr. Speaker, that there were many young children in attendance that showed their support in the recognition of the dark days of our past and to ensure that this chapter in our history will never be forgotten. Mr. Speaker, I come from a family of residential school survivors and understand well the impacts on survivors and their families. Mr. Speaker, I ask all honourable members to join me in honouring residential school survivors and remembering the 6,000 plus victims of residential schools who never came home. Thank you.
The honourable member for the district of Stephenville-Port.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to remember a heroic resident of the Port-au-Port Peninsula who passed away in September at the age of 93 years following a lifetime of business, volunteerism, and military service to our country. Mr. Richard Alexander was born August 25, 1925, and enlisted in the Newfoundland militia at the age of 16 years in the fall of 41. He served with the British Navy and Royal Marine Commandos until war's end. Also, he helped rescue people in the Knights of Columbus fire in St. John's in December of 42. He married his wife Dorothy in England in 1945 and shipped home. In 1952, he stepped up to serve again in Korea as sergeant with the Princess Patricia Canadian Light Infantry and the Black Watch in 1953. He served as recruiter before taking his release from the regular force in 56, but once again re-enlisted in 1960 with the regiment. He founded C Company, 2nd Battalion, Royal Newfoundland Regiment. Mr. Speaker, he also helped establish the Army Cadet movement on the West Coast and was the honorary lieutenant colonel of the 2nd Battalion, Royal Newfoundland Regiment up to 2010. What a career. Mr. Speaker, I ask all honourable members to join me in expressing condolences to his 10 surviving children, 25 grandchildren, 36 great-grandchildren, and 1 great-grandchild, as well as to his extended Royal Newfoundland regimental family, lest we forget.
The honourable member for Placentia West-Bellevue.
Mr. Speaker, if one thing is for certain is that sheds across our province are dynamic places to be. This was certainly the case for Reverend Fred Marshall of St. Michael's Anglican Church in Arnold's Cove. When considering how to attract more men to his congregation, he offered his shed as a place to gather around the wood stove, and was not long after this the group decided to build a boat. The church's shed was too small for the 14-foot Rodney they were to build, but parishioner Lloyd Wareham offered up not only his much larger shed equipped with the necessary tools, but also his talent and expertise. The building of this Rodney was a time for fellowship and knowledge sharing, and they were pleased to donate it as a prize for the local fire department to put on tickets to raise funds for equipment. In fact, Mr. Speaker, during the opening of the Arnold's Cove Heritage Week this summer, I was pleased to be drafted as part of the group to carry the Rodney from the Drake House to the boat launch for its christening. Mr. Speaker, I ask all honourable members to join me in saluting all of those who participated in Evenings at the Shed with Reverend Fred. I look forward to the next launch. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for the district of Terra Nova.
Mr. Speaker, the Air Cadet League of Canada helps youth build self-confidence, self-discipline, and leadership through effective public speaking, participation in healthy living activities, and personal development. On October 13th, I had the privilege of attending the Newfoundland and Labrador Provincial Committee's 69th Annual Awards Dinner, which was hosted in Clarenville. During the awards dinner, cadets throughout this province were recognized for their outstanding leadership and accomplishments. Brianna Ricketts from Gander was awarded the Leonard Outerbridge Award for Top Cadet for Newfoundland and Labrador. At such a young age, Brianna's list of accomplishments are truly amazing. Her career goal is to be a commercial airline pilot, and Brianna is well on her way to achieving this dream. I am told this year's meetings were a huge success. In Air Cadet Squadron 567 Random, Legion Branch 27, and the town of Clarenville are to be commended for their attention to detail and kind hospitality. I ask all honourable members to join me in congratulating Brianna Ricketts on achieving Top Cadet, as well to the families, volunteers, and sponsors of all Air Cadet Squadrons across this province. Thank you for your dedication to our young people.